everyone, my name is REDRUP. This is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by Bleeding Through frontman Brandan Schieppati. We talk about their aptly titled 9th album, 9, bringing on guest vocalists for the first time since 2008, the meaning behind the album's artwork, his opinion on the current scene of heavy music, and loads more. But before we get started on all of that, please do take a few seconds of your time, if you can, to help me out to support the podcast. You can hit subscribe or follow wherever you're checking this episode out so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. You can leave a review or a comment. You can follow the podcast on social media, and there is also a Patreon and a web store if you did want to go the extra mile. Any help that you can give really does help me out in terms of getting this podcast rolling and also to hit more eyes and ears. I've gone and shoved links to everything that I've just mentioned in the description of this episode, or you can head to itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now, with all that out of the way, here's my chat with Brandan Schieppati of Bleeding Through. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the It's Not a Phase podcast, where I'm joined by Brandan of Bleeding Through. How's it going, dude?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on, dude, because we were just talking about it before the podcast started, but 9th album, 9, comes out the day after this conversation's out if people listen to it on the day of release. But how are you feeling about getting this collection of songs out there in particular?
I'm feeling really good. I mean, like kind of we said before we went on, was like, I'm just very proud of this band for doing a record like this and how much we put into it, because I feel like a lot of times when you have a band that's been around a long time, it's hard to get them to put so much of themselves individually into a record. Yeah. I think a lot of times it's like, I'll give you what I can for like what my time allows approach to a lot of it. But I'm just very proud of our band for putting so much of themselves into it, like their passion, their vibe. And it's like, I think it's a perfect collection of like, for the first time, I think it's such an equal collection of all of our like vibe into one record, and all of like a little bit of like ourselves into it a little bit more equally. And I think it's, kind of comes across that way because, the record is very different, but overall the vibe is the same. And it's like, it's like, it kind of tells a story. It'll make you feel, it's the only record that I've ever listened to with Bleeding Through where I'm like, dude, like it makes me like think and like feel something like more almost to the point where like I'm a fan of the band. It kind of makes me feel like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You want to be that fan of your own band, right? Like, why would you not want to be stoked on your own band and the music that you're putting out and stuff? So yeah.
No, I'm stoked on it, man. Like I can't stop listening to it, and that's weird because it's like usually when we do a record and the record's like completed, I'll probably never listen to it again.
Right.
Only if it like a song comes on here or there, but I'm so fucking sick of it that like I can't listen to it anymore. But this record, even though it took us a really long time, I appreciated the creation of it and how it kind of came together, and just kind of how the sacrifice of like the band that like now having to do it. And man, I can't stop listening. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think, wasn't it originally meant to come out towards the end of 2024? And then it kind of got pushed back a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I joke about it, but we're very low on the totem pole of Sharp Tone Records.
Right.
So, and that's not really actually true. But what is sort of true is, since we are like, it's so relative. Like, what's a full-time band? What's a part-time band? Right. And I guess it's always kind of measured on the way they tour. But we play like 25 to 30 shows a year. We just don't like playing bad shows. So we'll only pick the good shows. I mean, there's no other way to put it. We've been a band for this long. We've put that groundwork in. We toured more than any band that I could even fucking think of for lots of years. And that's kind of why we are in the position to now we can be a little bit picky choosy and like just be very selective, which probably like feeds into the demand of the band. You know what I mean? But in terms of like looking like a full-time band, we look it, but we're not as full-time. So I'm getting off subject, but anyway, what I kind of mean by that is this: Bleeding Through does the absolute maximum that we can do, because all the members in the band have like careers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Outside of the band, where a lot of bands, their career is their band, which is still, because they might be younger or whatever, but that's fucking awesome. So when our record was supposed to come out in 2024, it kind of caused a little bit of a logjam of releases.
Right.
Since we are not a full-time band, we decided that it'd be really cool of us to just say, fuck it. Like, yeah, push our record back. Like, what the fuck do we care?
Yeah.
Rather than like a band that needs it to come out to coincide with a tour or whatever they have plans. Like, we don't have plans.
Right.
We don't really have plans to stick to. So really, we're like, the record can come out whenever. So we kind of stepped aside a few months to like allow the label to get all of the releases they needed out so they could focus more on our record.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. Like, where are you from? You're from the UK, obviously.
UK, yeah. Manchester,
okay,
the UK, yeah.
Okay. So like, do you guys celebrate Valentine's Day?
We do, but it's kind of like, just like
it's stupid, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, in our stupid country, it's like the biggest day of the year.
I think that's with all your holidays. Like, we don't really do much for Halloween. Like, there'll be like parties and
Nah.
stuff, but you go full hog. Yeah.
Halloween's dope. Valentine's Day is like kind of like this, like, it's not, but our record's now coming out on Valentine's Day, which kind of is like kind of cool, because a lot of the records of our past or whatever are all about like heartbreak and whatever. So
yeah, you've even got an album with a heart on it. So
yeah, exactly. The hearts are kind of our thing, dude.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's kind of like you say, you've not got like a intense touring schedule, because you've been doing this band, like you say, for like 25 years, whereas you've got these younger bands that kind of need to kind of build that foundation via touring. So it's very selfless of you to do that, I guess.
I mean, I guess I guess you could say it's selfless, but honestly, it's more just like, dude, like, this isn't our time. Like, do I think this record? It's not our time. It's the new wave of bands coming up. Like, let this be their time. And there's a way you can do that, and that is just doing what we're doing. Play select shows. Like, don't try to flood the market with more shows and more tours. Like shit's already oversaturated enough. Like, I feel like it's better for bands like us that don't need the band to rely on for like income or livelihood or whatever, to just do what we want to do and do as much as we want to do, but really just like try not to be in sort of like a pissing contest with like younger bands and try to take that opportunities away from them, because we've had every opportunity in the fucking world, and that's what's gotten us to like where we're at now. So like, let other people do it now.
Yeah. You've done those shows and stuff. Like, this is a bit of a throwback, I guess. I don't know if you remember this, but the way I found out about your band was, do you remember this TV show called Battle for Ozzfest?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That's how I discovered your band. Like, when I think her name was like Chelsea or something. She played bass for you. She tried to learn
Chelsea.
it and stuff. Yeah.
Man, when we found out that she was the one that was going to play for us, we're like, she is so scared, because she's like, fuck, like, she could have played for fucking Throwdown, who had like one riff the whole song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she joins like, and then she has to play bass for Bleeding Through, and it's like, bass for Bleeding Through is not an easy fucking task. Like,
yeah.
So you could just tell, like, she was so kind of over her head, but she was awesome. Like, she really like worked on the song. She did the best she could, and it was cool. I remember there was a part in the show where I looked very like annoyed by like her playing. And I'm like, dude, that wasn't even like in response to that. They totally just like took that part and smashed it together. And I told her, I'm like, when it came out, I saw her at an event, and I'm like, dude, like, I want you to know, like, I wasn't bummed out like at all. Like, I thought it was awesome that you were doing this.
Yeah. It's just TV editing, isn't it? Like, they're trying to like make drama because it makes good TV and stuff. But
exactly.
Yeah. Let's go back to obviously Bleeding Through today. So this, I think the last full length album came out like 7 years ago, and then obviously you had the EP between that in 2022. And obviously in between all that, there was this little thing called COVID that happened, which I'm sure didn't help things. But were there any like other things that kind of contributed to, I guess, that kind of gap between the two full length records?
Totally. Like we would have put something out way sooner. I mean, and when we put a record out in 2018, you know, we started playing shows a lot more. We started getting back in the groove of like doing like whatever we could as far as like touring and festivals and whatnot. But then COVID happened and it was like, fuck, now we need to pause again. And then that pause was like, we didn't even try to rush it at that point. We just waited till like, okay, like, you know, let's put this EP out. Like, let's just do something. Let's start the creative process again, but trying to get together and do a full record and stuff like that. Like, we just wanted to sort of like kind of take a step towards being a band again after COVID, because we didn't know if we were going to play after COVID. We didn't know what the landscape was going to be. I mean, no one did. And
No.
it's like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, poor us. Like, dude, this devastated the fucking planet. So, you know, bands like us can go fuck ourselves by being like, oh, they took away music. There was lives being taken away. It's a way fucking more serious.
Yeah.
And, but when it was allowed to happen, I didn't know how people in the band, people in the band hadn't really done a great job keeping in touch during COVID. Like we checked in on each other, but kind of uncharacteristic of how this band is, because we are very fucking close. And kind of like the best, like you don't find bands that are more best friends than like Bleeding Through. Like you just don't. Like, so we did a bad job at keeping touch. And also in our country and a lot of other countries, politics were ripping people apart. Like, you know, sort of like protocols, like medical protocols and decisions and families, like things would just be ripped apart. So I had no idea how my band was like taking all of this. So eventually I'm just like, hey, like, are we going to do this again? And, you know, everybody was just like, yes, let's fucking do it. So I'm like, okay, we'll do a record or we'll do an EP and then we'll get back onto it.
Right.
So I think that's a big thing with the new record too, is it was a lot of time to process and reflect on our past and kind of change our mindset of how we want it to be moving forward. And just as far as our daily approach, like having gratitude every day for having this opportunity to do this, feeling worthy of an opportunity to do this. And I think that's really important. And that's something I try to teach younger bands is don't just be like, oh, well, we don't really deserve this. No, you fucking deserve this. Put worth into your fucking selves so you could have the confidence to push your band forward, you know, feel worthy of the opportunity. So really that's the kind of the way that we carry ourselves now.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed as well, like you've got some guest vocalists on this album as well. I think you've got like three. And I think you've not done that for a while as well. I think maybe Declaration was the last album with
Declaration with Tim Lambesis on the record.
Yeah. So I mean, what was your thought process in terms of when you want to bring on a feature onto Bleeding Through? Because you know it's not something that you've really done for a while.
Yeah, we initially back in the day we had like M Shadows and John Pettibone and like, you know, Portrait of the Goddess had group vocals, and then we just kind of like didn't do it for like a long time. It had like, or if I did, it'd be like, you know, The Truth had a couple people on there, but this record I really wanted to like showcase those people. And I just wanted to put people that like kind of were part of this journey with us over the years, like Andrew and Brian, like Shadows Fall, Comeback Kid, Doc from God Forbid, like just really people that have been like very like close with us over the years and kind of part of the journey. People that we have tour history with, people that inspire me, and that I love as vocalists, and then Doc as a guitar player. It's just, you know, it's like they're part of the tribe.
Yeah. Well, I say like I think you've said as well, like you wanted this album to be like the most true representation and purest representation of Bleeding Through as it is now. And I guess if you're bringing on people that are, like say, part of the tribe, that's just kind of like injecting technically an outside influence, but like you say, it's part of like your DNA in a way because they have been there for you.
Yeah. You know, and it's like, I feel like it comes from a place of like, you know, that's why we're having them on there. We didn't ask like somebody from like, we didn't really go with like current bands, because it's like I don't have history. We don't have history with a lot of the current bands because it's like they're younger and it's just we just you know we know them, but it's not like we have like that connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna hit up Brian from Knock Loose and be like, "Yo, I know you talk about Bleeding Through in your interviews all the time, and we're cool and we know each other, but do you want to sing on a Bleeding Through record?" I just didn't feel like that was like the type of way to go. You know what I mean? Maybe next record, but like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think as well, like sometimes for features, I think this is more a case like with newer bands, they'll just get a feature for the sake of having the feature, whereas it's
Yeah.
not really like a
Yeah.
collaboration. It's just like they put
It's
the
like
name on there. Yeah.
if you put on Spotify, so like at my gym, and keep in mind, whatever I'm saying about bands, it's 100% just snarky examples. Like
Yeah.
I don't like. I'm not a hater. I think bands are fucking. I'm a big fucking fan of music. So, but like you know, at my gym, I roll through Spotify all day, and it's like playlist. And like honestly, if I have to see another fucking Paleface Swiss collaboration, I'm going to shoot myself in the fucking face. Like, how many collaborations do you need to get before it's officially too many collaborations? It's like this band, oh, featuring Paleface Swiss. And it's like it goes back to like algorithms. Like, how many times can a Throne song come on? Like, I've never put a Throne record on, but their songs come on every playlist that I'd ever play in the gym. Like, I was listening to a Bad Religion fucking playlist and Throne came on. I'm like, what happened here?
That's a strange
You know
connection. I don't get that.
But totally. So it's like, and nothing against Paleface Swiss. I like the band. They're cool dudes, but it's like, holy fuck, like every song is this band plus Paleface Swiss.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's too much. I feel like it's too much. It's not special when it's every motherfucking band that could like, you know, I don't know, be choosy.
Yeah.
I don't want to sing on anybody's fucking record. I don't even care who the fuck they are.
Yeah, you should have like a connection with them, I guess, like they're friends or something like that. Yeah. Well, yeah, I just mentioned then like that you did say you wanted this to be like a pure representation of Bleeding Through. Was there like a when you went to the studio or when you were writing the songs, was there like a mental checklist of what you kind of wanted in order to get to that goal, or was it just
the only thing that I wanted to push on this record was a little bit more orchestral, musical, like theatrical, cinematic type layers that over top of all of the music. Like we've always had a lot of layers and stuff like that, especially because of like Marta's keyboards and I mean because of that. But I just really wanted to expand that in a way that like it was like I wanted it to blanket the whole record and kind of add that sort of vibe. And that was one of the things I wanted to do, like almost the way that like if you listen to like a Dimmu Borgir record, you're like, oh my God, this is like, you're in like a magical you're on a magical journey right now. I wanted the magical journey to come out of this Bleeding Through record. So I really just wanted it to be a little bit more musical than it's ever been, with like more of like an overtone of darkness.
Yeah, it sets like an atmosphere, doesn't it? Like it sets a mood and a vibe as opposed to this is just a song. Totally. You're kind of getting
like I like atmospheric music. I like stuff that have like a certain like atmosphere tone through like the whole song. So I really wanted that to be like a prominent part of this new record.
Yeah. And you mentioned Journey there, and I guess that kind of ties into somewhat in like the album artwork. So you've got kind of like this person going down a path and then it splits into two. You've got like darkness and fire and wreckage in one, and then you've got, you know, light and greenery and flowers and butterflies in the other. So can you just expand on like that choice of artwork and what it kind of represents for you?
So like with the music, I want, like when you listen to music, I want it to like spark emotion and thought and sort of like self-interpretation. And kind of the record covers the same way. What it represents to me is being bipolar and struggling with like some mental shit my whole life. I have felt on a path with two options my whole life. My days are kind of a mix of both options, like, you know, kind of bouncing back and forth. Some days I stick in one, some days I stick in the other. But the open space kind of just, to me, represents, because of those options every day and kind of not really having the most power over what option you're going to take, it feels very isolating. And so that space to me just represents isolation with the choice of both directions in the road like that. So to me, that just represents like what I battle through every day. That sort of like, you know, temptation and paths in isolation.
Yeah. And yeah, you do mention like, you know, you talk about mental health in the songs on this album. Is that kind of like cathartic for you to put those thoughts and feelings onto paper, or do you ever feel like vulnerable when you write about stuff like that?
I mean, I've always like kind of put a lot of emotion into things just from different places. And I've never really like honed in so much to like my mental instability or stability or whatever it is right now. But I've never really just made it a lot about that. And so that was very cathartic for me to do. It definitely kind of pulled me in like weird emotional spots in my life. And this record was really hard to write for. I would get on a roll with certain lyrics and I would just toss them, and I wanted to keep it real, and just really like kind of like basic and straightforward to like what I deal with. So, kind of having that be one of the focuses of the lyrical content of the record, was definitely something that kind of helped me.
Yeah. Like, I guess that's kind of like, say, like, I think sometimes when you like, at least when like, if I ruminate about things, sometimes just saying them or putting them on paper just kind of helps me kind of process what it is that I'm thinking about. I don't know if that feels it's the same for you.
It is. I mean, that's just like, that's been always the way that like through my whole career, like I write lyrics all the time, but putting pen to paper a lot of the time is the best way to sort of like exercise those thoughts and sort of reflect. It's all about reflection for me. It's all about being able to kind of like take a step to the side and like look at and observe and look at what I'm going through. Sometimes putting it on paper and then reading it and seeing what I'm going through is the easiest way for me to remedy that.
Yeah. Well, why she mentioned reflection, you know, we have, you know, said it in this conversation already, like a 25-year long career for the band. When you kind of look back at what you've achieved in 2.5 decades, like how do you feel about, you know, the bleeding through that started all the way back then to where it is today?
I mean, I'm very proud of this band. We've had the core members of the band in the band for over 20 years, which is remarkable. Keeping a band together for 25 years and actually having more than, there's a lot of bands that don't even have any original members from the origin. You know what I mean? And it's like, so we've had some long tenured members, and I'm very proud of them. Proud of us. I'm proud that we have always stayed true to ourselves. We knew what we were from day one. We knew what we were comfortable with, and we knew what made us happy. And whether that made other people happy or lived up to expectations other people set for us, that's another fucking story. And that's honestly a care I don't have in my fucking body anymore. Right. I don't feel like a disappointment to anybody, and if we are, then that is just ridiculous. We always stayed true. We didn't try to write a sellout record or try to get on the fucking radio or try to follow in the footsteps of our good friends in Avenged Sevenfold, which fucking everybody else did. And we went through the ups and downs, and we've managed expectations really well. And I feel like this record is just a testament to all of that. It's all about us staying true to ourselves, creatively, musically, staying true to our fucking fan base and giving them what they want sometimes, you know what I mean? Yeah. Rather than try to like prove to ourselves that, oh, we're a fucking, we're a critics band and we could write this and who cares if our fans like it. We always felt obligated and willing to make sure that our fans felt prideful in our band and what we created over the years and what we're still creating. So that's something that we always kind of like keep in mind when we're writing music. Like, we're not going to put something out there. I mean, there's lots of shit that's cool that don't make our records, because I'm like, dude, that would just like our fans are so passionate, right? And I don't want them to have to like answer questions for some fucking lame song. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's just I just never wanted that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not like obviously like Bleeding Through is not your only like outlet within music throughout your like musical career. Obviously you've been in previous bands like Throwdown and 18 Visions, and
Yeah.
then you had like I Am War and stuff like that.
hmm
I mean, we mentioned like features before, but how do you feel like the heavy music scene has changed throughout that time as well?
I mean, it always kind of like goes like it's what's weird right now is like hardcore, the hardcore that I remember growing up going to shows when I was like 12 and 13 years old is like massive. Like that scene, that vibe, and that's fucking awesome because that gets a lot of like younger people into heavier music because
Yeah,
that grabs young people because that grabs kids that are going to a show for the first time because they want to stage dive for the first time. You know what I
yeah,
mean? They could give a fucking rat's ass what band's playing. They're going to go because they know motherfuckers are stage diving. Like
yeah,
literally, like I would go to shows like, oh my God, I'm going to go crowd surf. Who's playing? I don't know. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it also introduces people to like heavy music. So I think the ground movement of getting the youth is strong. And then you kind of work the chains of other genres and subgenres. And I noticed that shows are like younger. Even our shows are younger. Like you see younger people at our shows. Then I'm like, dude, that's awesome. That means people are like kind of doing a history dive and like finding us. But I think shit's in a really good spot, man. Like heavy music is, you have bands like Knocked Loose that are like getting the commercial kind of success a little bit. And they're playing shit that like, holy fuck, that should not be getting that kind of thing.
yeah.
You know, that
Like
recognition.
Suffocate on Jimmy Kimmel and stuff like that.
That's crazy. So like
Yeah,
that shouldn't be doing it, but it's awesome that it is because it still continues to bust doors down for younger bands to be able to be more comfortable with their music and not feel like they have to hide it from like mainstream world. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like this is our music. Look at all these other bands doing it. You know what I mean? It's kind of cool. I think
yeah.
we're in a really good spot. I think a lot of the bands that are coming out now are like more creative. You know, it's a good time.
Yeah, 100% agree, man. Like it's really healthy, and there's like room for everyone like you guys that are, have been at it for a while, and there's the new guys and stuff. So yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
really good spot. Yeah, I know you're a busy guy, so we get to like wrapping this up.
Okay.
What plans have you got for the rest of the year? Obviously, the album drops, and then what's coming after that you can talk about?
Yeah, we have some things in the works. So like the record comes out on Valentine's Day. We have a CD release show that we're doing through Sirius XM Liquid Metal. I don't know if you guys could, I mean, maybe you do, but in the States, it's like the big satellite radio shit.
Yeah, yeah,
We're doing a CD release show, with our friend Jose. And after that, we're kind of like putting together the weekends right now. Like we're doing Sonic Temple, which is a festival in Ohio. We are planning a South America tour, and we're also planning a Europe tour for our first time in Europe, and like touring Europe in like
a long time.
fuck, like 12 years almost.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fucking long time. So then we'll be able to go to like mainland Europe and parts of the UK. So we're looking forward to that. So those are in the works, and as well as just other festivals and shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, awesome, dude. Sounds really exciting.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, dude. Thanks again. I'll let you go.
you
Any
bet.
final words before we wrap up?
Yeah, listen to this record. And I keep telling people, listen to this record because it's like, I get it. Like, This Is Love, This is Murder, this was a cool record. Like, it's cool. But get past it. Like, get past that record. Like, move on. Like, there's so much cool shit. And if you're going to move on, just fucking go straight to this new one because it's a vibe. It's going to make you feel some shit and just be okay with that.
I agree, man. It's a great record. Everyone
Thank
go
you.
and listen to it as soon as you can. And yeah, Brandon, I'll let you go. Hopefully I'll see you when you guys come over to the UK, whenever that is.
You will, man.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Thanks, man.
Fingers crossed. Take care of yourself. Bye.
Later.
And that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in to It's Not a Phase. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the podcast on social media. And maybe even join the Patreon or grab some merch from the store. You can find everything that you need at itsnotaphase.com. itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.